Meteorologist George Lessens. We're going to start our YouTube live presentation on possible severe storms on Wednesday here in just a moment. Want to allow a few folks to get to join and let your neighbors and friends know that there is a YouTube live video going to be up the upcoming storms here during the day tomorrow. Before that happens, just want to thank everyone for joining in here this evening. Going to be a full day here tomorrow with some strong storms. What you're seeing there on the screen right now is a replay or a playback of our Weather Channel on 13.2, if you ever had a chance to do that. It is not available on any of the streaming services, but you can get it off the air on 13.2. And we'll give folks about another 30 seconds to join us online as we go through the scenario, timeline, and breakdown of the possible severe storms coming up here during the day on Wednesday. A lot of haze in the air. You can see from the tower cams, Grand Rapids and Muskegon, all of that due to the Canadian wildfire haze and smoke that will get swept out with the storms as they come through during the day tomorrow. So again, start our YouTube live feed here and streaming of the possible severe storms here during the day on Wednesday. Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist George Lessens, and we're looking at the possibility of those strong storms coming up during the afternoon tomorrow. So no worries coming up here tonight. Let's take a look at those areas that are under consideration. We always look for an increasing or decreasing risk of severe weather day to day. A couple of days ago, we were in an outlook area, just generalized for West Michigan. It was a slight risk during the day yesterday, which was a Category 2, and they've been upped it now to a Category 3 out of 5. That's the Storm Prediction Center doing that. Every time they continue to increase, that means there's an increased confidence that severe weather is possible. It's not always a slam dunk, but certainly numerous severe thunderstorms are possible, and so we'll be looking at the risks individually. A little bit higher risk than normal for damaging winds, and this will be occurring during the afternoon and evening on Wednesday. Generally, if you draw a line from about Holland to Flint to the south and east is where the highest risk will be. Now, a lot of folks will get you right down to the county level. That's a little bit misleading because these areas are just drawn freehand. They're not really that well defined, so they could be off by a county or two. So if you see any maps that have these areas drawn with counties on, take it with a grain of salt because they could be plus or minus counties north and south, east or west. There's also a little bit enhanced risk for a tornado in those same general areas. And hail risk, not out of the question. You saw what happened over in Davison later on last week with tennis ball and baseball size hail. So the risk for that is also the possibility. These storms are going to be moving through. They're going to have heavy downpours. There's going to be a lot of water available in the air. So we are in a Category 2 out of 4 risk, a slight risk for heavy rainfall here in West Michigan. So to wrap it all up, the main threat will be generally from noon to 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then they'll push out of our area and over toward Detroit between 8 p.m. and midnight. Again, a medium risk for tornadoes and hail, a higher risk for wind and flooding. And our forecast confidence yesterday was only moderate. Today it is now high. Tomorrow it might be very high as that storm system starts to move in. Now we do look at a couple of models that do try to model the atmosphere with severe weather and thunderstorms in general. This is the NAM model, North American model, has been pretty good the last couple of weeks. This is the timeline of the storms coming down out of Minnesota. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you'll wake up, you'll still see some of that haze and smoke in the air, and you go, what a beautiful day here in West Michigan. And then as the storms start to approach the Lake Michigan shoreline about noon, we'll see those showers and storms come through. Now, the NAM shows the storms weakening and then rebuilding from Grand Rapids off to the south and east, with a second line coming into Wisconsin. So that first line goes over toward Flint and Detroit, very weak. Second line, this is 7 p.m. coming through and pushing through between 7 and 11 p.m. and then finally reaching Detroit. So that's one solution to follow the storms. And this is a solution, a paradox for all meteorologists who are trying to model these thunderstorms, because what's another model called the HRRR The high resolution rapid refresh model has a big difference in when the storms are going to be coming in. Same timeline, this is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Look at that large complex of storms. A little different than the North American model. This is noon. They kind of got the same idea. Some showers and storms approaching Lake Michigan right around noon, but unlike the North American model, the HRRR blasts through a very complex, very strong area of storms between noon and 5 p.m. If that happens, this could be really quite I don't want to use the word devastating, but this could be quite impactful if this particular model does work on out. And it's just one line of thunderstorms that blast through lower Michigan, ending up through Detroit and all over there by 11 o'clock. And we end up with the same scenario on the backside, clearing skies, sunshine to wake up Thursday. So again, if you go back and look at the North American model, we'll run it through once again. It doesn't take those storms and blow them up like the HRRR. It waits and does two lines of storms, one in the early afternoon and then one in the early evening, and then pushes to the east. Contrast that again with the HRRR. They have the same idea, except the HRRR keeps it all together, coming through between about noon and 8 p.m. and then pushing finally off to the south and east. So could be any type of scenario. Could be one round of very strong storms in the afternoon and early evening, or two rounds, one in the mid-afternoon and also early in the evening. Just stay weather aware here tomorrow. So just to recap all of the things that you probably know, but just want to go through all of the definitions. Severe thunderstorm watch. A lot of folks are confused with that. That's just a time when if a watch is issued to be prepared. It's just the potential. Just watch out for storms. You'll be on the watch. And to be a severe thunderstorm, it has to have hail 1 inch or larger, wind gusts to around 60 miles an hour, but it also does include the possibility of a tornado. If there is a warning, that's the time to take action. A watch means be prepared. A warning means take action, which means you need to head to a place of safe shelter. Similar for tornadoes, same thing. Tornado watch, be prepared. Tornado warning, head to a place of safe shelter. They're looking at tornadoes more likely than hail and strong winds, as opposed to a severe thunderstorm watch. So what can you do to prepare? Well, just make sure all of your electronic devices are charged. Have more than one way to get your warnings. Cell phone warnings are great, except they are a couple of minutes delayed. If you're going to be at home, check your shelter spaces, especially if the kids are going to be home and you are not. Just make sure they know what to do. Gather their bike helmets tonight and gloves. Clean out your shelter space. Make sure it's all clean and ready to go. Any outdoor objects you might want to put away before you go to bed tonight. Charlie Tinker had one of those little pop-up canopies he had last weekend that just got twisted out of shape, so he's going to bring his new one indoors and make sure all the garage doors are closed. Talk about severe weather and thunderstorms all the time. People go, hey, I just had a severe thunderstorm come through my neighborhood. Every thunderstorm has lightning, rain, and wind with it. There are always power outages with just any ordinary thunderstorm, and if there is any wind damage, it's usually pretty limited, but that's not a severe thunderstorm. That's just a typical thunderstorm, and there could be even pea-size hail with those. Strong thunderstorms, as we talk about, could have winds between 40 and 60 miles per hour. This is when you get 100 plus power outages, maybe even up to 1,000. Again, these are not severe thunderstorms. Hail could be ½ inch or a little bit larger. When we talk about severe weather, that is when we get the 60 plus mile per hour winds, 1 inch diameter hail. There is likely to be damage not only to trees and power lines, but maybe to homes as well. And this is when you get the thousands of power outages, not the number of customers, the number of outages across West Michigan. So just stay weather aware here during the day tomorrow, and we would love to see any video, horizontal video for about 30 seconds long, or even some photos. And the way you can share those with us is get your camera, scan that QR code, and it will give you instructions on where to send them, how to send them, and what you need to do to share those photos, and we'll put the best ones on the air as well. So I appreciate you folks hanging out with me here for this brief briefing on the potential for severe storms coming up here during the afternoon and evening tomorrow. Of course, the entire weather team will be on duty, keeping you safe. Sam Jacks in the morning and myself in the afternoon. Meantime, Chief Meteorologist George Lessens here in the 13 on Your Side Weather Center. Have a great night.